Hello and welcome to this module where we are going to start building our worksheet. To begin with, I need to clear or delete what I have on my screen. So for me to be able to delete it, I need to highlight all of it because it will take me ages to delete one cell at a time. So if I want to highlight everything, I've got three options. I could start with my cursor here, then hold down my mouse and drag down up to this cell. Then I drag to the right until I highlight everything. So that is option number one. Once it's highlighted, I then press delete on the keyboard. Now I'm going to press undo so that I put back that information. I'm going to show you method number two. If I know this is the only information and there is nothing below and there is nothing on the right hand side, then I can highlight the columns. I pointed column A, pressed down the mouse, then I moved to the right while my mouse is pressed down. So I'm highlighting the whole column. So if there is anything else down there, it's also going to be deleted, no matter how low it is, because I have highlighted the whole column. Then you can press delete like we did earlier on. The third way is to highlight the rows. So I point at row number 1, then I click and hold down and I move my mouse down until I've highlighted all the rows. So remember, you need to be sure that there's nothing else on the right of this information, because once you press delete, everything in these rows is going to be deleted. Alright, so now I can click on cell A1. The first thing when you're creating a worksheet is that you need to have a design in mind. In other words, you need to know how you want your document to look like. So many times a person would actually draw something on paper just to give themselves an idea of what they would like to see. For us, I have already created the sample of what we are going to make together. So we are going to start from the top going downwards. On my worksheet, I have left column A blank with nothing, and I have left row number 1 also blank. So it means that I left a blank row on top and a blank column on the left. This is for a very good reason, so that I can be able to see exactly how my worksheet is going to look like. Because if I had started on A, this border on this title, it was going to show on all the sides except on the left hand side, because this one was going to coincide with the border for these row numbers. So this is why I prefer to leave the first column so that the formatting for all my cells are 100% visible. So it means that we are going to start creating in column B and in row number 2. So this is where we are going to type our names. So what I want you to do now, on your blank worksheet, you go to B2. So this is B and then row number 2. and you type in your full name. So for now, all we are doing is creating the worksheet. We are not yet formatting. So don't worry about how it is looking, because during this module, we only want to make sure we put the contents in the right place. So you type your full name in cell B2. So as I explained earlier on, it will spill over to the next cell, but for now we are not going to readjust the cell columns. We are going to start readjusting in a few moments. Then if we check back on our document, you can see that I left a space between the name and the title for the page. It means there's a row that is left blank. So you can see here I've got row number 2, then it jumps to number 4. So the reason why you don't see the number 3 is because I have squeezed this row number 3 so that it is very narrow. So we go back to our worksheet and you go to the bottom of row number 3. Remember, row 3 is this one that you highlight by clicking on the number 3. So you go to the bottom of it here. So you need to be in the numbers, not inside the workspace here, but on the numbers. Then you go to the boundary of 3 and 4. You get that cross, then you hold down your mouse and you drag up until you get the space that you want. Then you leave it. So you can see now that my row number 3 has been reduced in height. So we call this the row height. If it is a column, we call this the column width. From left to right is width, but up and down is height. So it's column width and row height. So we've just adjusted the height for row number 3. So the next thing is we want to type this subtitle which says personal monthly income and expenditure budget. So we are going to type it in B4. So you put your cursor on B4 and you type in personal income and we said personal monthly income and expenditure budget. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to continue typing with this mistake, then I'll show you how to change that content. So I'll type it as personal income and expenditure budget and press enter. So you can see now I have personal income and expenditure budget, but I want it to be personal monthly income, like here, personal monthly income. So there are two ways in which I can edit this content. I can have my cursor in B1, then I go up to the formula bar and simply click inside here. I can move around with my arrow keys, or I can just click exactly where I want to insert that monthly and type in monthly. And then you press enter. So now I have edited. So let me just undo so that I remove the monthly, and I want to show you a second way of editing. And by the way, editing simply means changing the contents of the document. So what you can do, instead of going to the formula bar, you double click in B4. Remember, this label is showing from B up to E, but actually there is nothing in C, as you can see up there, nothing in D, nothing in E. Everything is actually in B4. So you double click in B4. When you double click, you now see the cursor is flashing inside. Then you can now start moving the cursor about. So I now move it just before the I, and I type monthly space and I press enter. So those are the two ways of editing. Either go straight to the formula bar or double click here so that you get the cursor. So you see, when I double click, I can now move the cursor on that statement. But if I press enter and then just click once without double click, when I move here, I cannot move on the actual statement. I'm actually moving to the next cell. So that's the difference between clicking once and double clicking in a cell. Alright, let's go back to our template and see what is next. So you can see that I've left another row, which is number 5, blank. And then I type month with a colon, and then I put the month name, then I put year and the year number. So let's go to our worksheet. So now we are in B6. So I type month colon, then I press tab on the keyboard and I put the name of the month, January. Then I press tab, I type year with a colon, I press tab, then I put the year 2021. Right. So remember, for now we said we are only creating the content. We are not yet formatting the worksheet. So let's go back to sheet number 1. Then the next row is also blank after the month and year, but we've also squeezed it. So number 7 needs to be squeezed. So we squeeze row number 7 like that. And then the next item is typed in column C. We are no longer starting from B. We are now starting in column C. The reason is because our data has got only 2 columns. So we want to put it in the middle of the document, leaving 1 column on the left and 1 column on the right hand side. So we start with the balance brought forward. So you take your cursor to C8. So on C8 we type balance, then space brought, space forward. Then I press enter. So this is the first time that we now need to adjust the column width. So what we can do is we can come up here and drag the column width, or we can simply double click on it and then it adjusts this column to fit this widest cell. So we have balance. So we have balance brought forward. And then the next thing is we want to put the amount, which in this case is 0, next to the balance brought forward. So we simply type in 0. Then next we are going to leave another row. We leave rows so that our document looks neat. You do not want all your information to be all together because these are different parts of the document, so you want them to look different as well. So we skip number 9 and we type income in C10. So you go to C10 and type in income, and my income is all in capital letters because it is a main heading for a section. So under the income, this is where we are going to put the different items together with their amounts. So you can see that I have got salary, extra jobs, then interest on savings, and then total income. So I say salary. Okay, let me change the caps lock. Salary, then extra jobs, then interest on savings. So this is the interest that you earn in the bank. Then I put the total income. Total income also in capital letters because I want to be able to highlight it. It's a main figure. So you now go back to the salary and we type in the salary of 10,000 and press enter. And then the extra jobs, it's 1,500, then interest is 200. Okay, 1,500 and interest is 200. So we are going to leave this total income for now because we are going to come back to it when I introduce the formulas for calculating. We do not add these things with a calculator, then just type in here, because if, for example, I just calculated with a calculator, I would say the total is 11,700. But if later on I come and I change the interest to 500, this 11,700 is not changing. So I would have to recalculate and say it is now 12,000. So this is the reason why we need to put a formula here so that whatever changes happen up here, they are automatically reflected in the total income. So that's why we are leaving the total income blank for now until we get to the section for the formulas. So next we leave a blank line, number 15, and we type in capitals expenditure. Then on the expenditure, let's see what we have. House rent, food, transport, clothing, school expenses, and other. Let's see if I can remember that. House rent, food, transport, clothing, school expenses, and other. And then the last one is the total expenditure. Okay, let's go back and see what are the amounts that we have. We have 3,000, 2,500, 1,800, 1,500, 250. I'll definitely not remember all this, so I'm going to be coming back here. So it's 3,000 to 500, 1,800, 1,500, 500, and what was the other amount? And 250. Okay, so I only forgot one. Then the total expenditure is also going to be a formula that adds up all these expenses. Next, we leave the row 24 blank and we go to 25 and we type balance carried forward. We have now entered all the information required for our personal monthly income and expenditure budget. What's left is to format the document so that it looks exactly like the template that we are copying. And that is exactly what we are going to be doing in the next module. What I would like you to do now is to create your own copy of the monthly income and expenditure budget and make sure it is looking exactly like mine, together with the items and the figures. Once you've finished creating this worksheet, I want you to save your document by going to File and you select Save, but because I have saved mine before, I use Save As, but we will get the same screen. So Save As then gives me different locations. I'm going to click on Browse so that I find different locations on my hard drive. So select the folder where you want to save your document. You can put it in Documents or any other folder that you create. But what's important is for you to give a name that is your full name first, and then followed by my personal budget. So that is going to be the name of your file, so that when you send it, I will know it is coming from you. Then you can click Save. And because mine already exists, it will ask me if I would like to overwrite yes or no. For now, I will say no. So you can save your own in the folder that you have selected. And then at the various stages, you can then send that document to me for review. We will continue in the next lesson formatting this document and possibly entering the formulas for the total income, total expenditure, and the balance carried forward. So I will see you in the next lesson.